Welcome to duel number 2 from Daytona. Ricky Rudd is on pole by virtue of his P2 in qualifying in single car runs. I may have mentioned in duel 1 about a past champion professional Bill Elliott could not be in the top 2 in this one. That is not the case, and Elliott has to race his way in like everyone else. With that out of the way, let us go through the starting grid and I'll tell you which drivers are go home in this race. So Ricky Rudd and Dale Jr. make up row number 1, with Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin behind them. Matt Kenseth and Ryan Newman make up row 3, with Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick behind them. Brian Vickers locked his way in for single car time trials, and Jeff Burton is next to him. Juan Montoya and Michael Waltrip, who also locked his way into the race for single car time trials. Bill Elliott and Boris said the first 2 cars that need to race their way in, Dave Blaney and Johnny Sauter behind them. Elliott Saddle and Casey Mears, with Joe Nemechek and David Reagan behind them. Jeremy Mayfield and Regan Smith are 2 more open cars that need to race in, with JJ Yaley and Jeff Green behind them. Then you get into the rest of the open cars. Mike Bliss and Kirk Shelmerdine, James Hilton, Eric McClure, Derek Cope, and AJ Allmendinger round out your field. Let's go down trackside to get the command to fire up engines here as we wait for the race to begin. And now for the command in just 10 seconds. As you know, they're probably doing the introduction trackside. Whoever's yelling, drivers, start your engines into the microphone. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines fired. And I bet these drivers are fired up themselves. So the keys to the race. 32 laps, just like duel 1. You've got a bunch of the field locked in already. So don't tear up your car or you could go to the back. Duel 1 made it 8 laps without crashing, just about. And then they wrecked twice in their race actually. Once here in 1 and 2 and once in the trial oval. If you're one of these open cars, stay out of trouble if there is any, and you gotta be running at the checkered flag. And also, you gotta be top 10 to get points, even though there's not many. With the chase, those are so valuable, and you gotta have them. You know, everyone. Let's say you missed the chase by 2 points. Denny Hamlin could have gotten 2 points in his duel at Daytona, but he crashed out. So that's another reason to stay out of trouble. But with that out of the way, it's Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt Jr. who will lead the field to the green. The 88 car that Jr. eventually drove later in his Cup career. Ricky Rudd, one of the top 5 drivers with the most starts in the Cup Series. As they come through turn 3 and turn number 4 for the final time, side by side, we're going to get the green flag one last time tonight to start a duel. It probably won't be the last time we see the pace car leading this field. Fans are on their feet as the pace car is going to make a hard left turn down pit road. Ricky Rudd inside, Dale Jr. outside. Here we go. And we are green from Daytona. Rudd away with the early lead from Earnhardt Jr. As everyone's still very organized here as they come through 1 and 2. And if you're on the outside, you don't really want to be up here as you're getting up to speed. As the inside is much faster, Kenseth making a move on Tony Stewart. Where does Rudd go to block? Rudd ducks low. Kenseth with a push from Truex Jr. And Rudd better hope his car is pretty much up to speed, so he can lead lap 1 of the duel. He's going to have Kenseth for help, his fellow Ford, and Ricky Rudd is going to be the leader of the first lap of the duel. Kirk Shelmerdine is pulling to pit road with an issue. And that slowed up James Hilton and Derek Cope, who are currently side by side at the back of this field. Now, see, the issue for Shelmerdine is coolant leak. We saw that in the test race. Well, you guys didn't, but I did. Denny Hamlin. No, it wasn't Hamlin. Someone had a coolant leak in one of the test races I ran, but they were able to continue. But that's bad early for Shelmerdine. He's one of these open cars that needs to make this 500. And now he just gave himself an uphill battle to climb. Especially if we don't know if they're going to wreck or not. Hilton now losing the draft a little bit too. Here comes Shelmerdine off pit road. Hopefully the pack can't avoid him, because he's going to get lapped in a hurry. Here we go, at least they'll get him on the straightaway. He's going to pull out of line, out of the... Oh no, he's not. They're going to crash. Montoya, sad. Somewhere in that, there was miscommunication. Allmendinger's going around. They're still wrecking. Hamlin, Nemechek. Nemechek gets tagged by the 70 of Johnny Sauter. Hamlin, Hilton with major damage. Only took till lap 3 for this to happen. And it trickled with Montoya, who was second in line. Tags into Kirk Shelmerdine. Boris Said gets hooked around by Denny Hamlin. There's cars scattering everywhere to try to avoid the wreck. Sauter gets tagged. Allmendinger gets tagged. Hilton's still not on the brakes. Arca brakes into Allmendinger and Denny Hamlin. But 49 of Bliss may have been involved. Newman in the 12 also caught up in it. Yeah, Hamlin gets hooked here by Nemechek, and then Hilton just isn't on the brakes, and bam, right in the Hamlin. And then Nemechek got slammed by someone as well. When he went around there, that was the 70 of Johnny Sauter who slammed Joe Nemechek in the back end. I don't think AJ has much damage. But the 49 of Bliss, let's see if he was involved. Oh yeah, he got hit by Derek Cope. And Cope went around for a little bit of a slide. AJ doesn't seem to have very much damage on his car. But dang. Really, all you can say, a bunch of good cars torn up early. Shelmerdine's going to get the free pass. He was lapped just before that incident. And for some reason, NASCAR's not classifying him as part of the incident. James Hilton is out. He will not race in the Daytona 500. Mike Bliss just came out with his hood off. Derek Hope in the 74. We got Shelmerdine's coming down pit road now. I don't know how much damage he has from that accident. Sauter's out of the race. So is Hamlin. So is Hilton. So it'll be lap 8 when we go back green. And I just completely missed the restart because it didn't stop accelerating when I wanted it to. So, okay. There's Shelmerdine's lap back. And we are underway again. And there is about 13 cars left in this lead pack. Maybe a few more can catch up. Maybe Mears can catch up with Montoya and Allmendinger. Maybe. We'll see if they do. Because he's sort of in the drafting range of Eric McClure. He just needs Montoya to stay with him, which he doesn't do. So now that may cost them a chance of being in the draft. I don't know why Montoya would do that, but now Montoya is going to lead that group, and they're going to lose the draft because of it. For any chance they had at being in the draft. Bill Elliott and Jeremy Mayfield still hold those last two positions here in the transfers. I don't know how many cars are. There's 13 cars left out here that could still win this race. Maybe 16 if these three can figure out what they're doing. McClure struggling at the back of this pack, as Montoya, Allmendinger, and Mears draft to catch up. Now that they've gotten reorganized, they're about just almost 2 seconds back, so anything can happen. We saw some guys draft up from behind in the class, but that was with a much smaller pack leading the field. And these guys just cannot figure out what they want to do. AJ wants the lead now. But of the go home cars in this pack, you have Elliott, Mayfield, I almost said Ginn, that's the team he's racing for, Smith, and Eric McClure. Cope is way off the pace. He's like 40 miles per hour off. So he might cause a wreck when they get to him. Which would help these guys, Allmendinger, Montoya, Mears. Shelmerdine seems to have a good chunk of damage still. He's not able to really drive off from these cars he's with. Let's see how far back. Let's see how much time Cope is losing per lap. Because we may get another caution if he jumbles up this lead pack. Yeah, he's losing about 7 seconds of that. I'm sure some of these guys wouldn't mind just running around until the checker. You know, especially Bill Elliott and Mayfield, who aren't getting much of a challenge for the transfers. But if Cope holds these guys up, then it's going to open the door for a caution. Because like we did in the class, we'll throw it if the lap car holds everyone up. And they can see the 74. The 60 and 13 are also pretty off the pace. But I think that, yeah, they're going to catch him this time. It's about 45 seconds a lap, so we may just call the 74 and say, hey, you're too slow, but we will see. Kenseth making a move inside on Bill Elliott. As they rip down the back straightaway. Yeah, and Cope has been called to pit road for not meeting minimum speed here on the racetrack. But Kenseth still trying to pass him. Trying to pass Bill Elliott in the 37 car as Cope pulls the pit road. Waltrip and McClure almost losing the draft, but it's still Bill Elliott, who didn't even know he was going to make the Daytona 500 when he woke up today, trying to lead the field and get himself a 4th place start for the race. Meanwhile, I don't think they'll be dealing with flat traffic for a while until they get to Boris Said and Joe Nemechek. Said is basically guaranteed out of the race unless we get a massive crash that takes out all of his competition for the transfer position. Ricky Rudd started pulling this duel. He's going to lead them down in the 1. Here comes Matt Kenseth on the bottom though. I gotta scratch my nose. I just did it over a microphone for some reason. But it's Rudd leading the pack here down the back straightaway. Kenseth to his inside with Yaley and Elliott, and then they're 3 wide behind them. Blaney, Stewart, Burton. Here they come for 3 and 4. It's going to be Kenseth nosing ahead, trying to clear the 88 car. Can he do it? I think that the 88 is just going to be right on his quarter panel as they head for 1. Yeah, the 84, 25, 42, they've all lost the draft. I think they're about to get scooped up by that second pack, actually, led by the 27 of Kirk Shelmerdine. Blaney Mayfield still trying to make that bottom lane work. We got a battle for the transfer position, potentially, as Eric McClure is looking outside, but now that they've got the Gibbs car of Yaley leading the bottom, it's going to be a bit harder for McClure to get by the 36 again. And it's a shame when a lap car like Kirk Shelmerdine did what he did, took out a good chunk of the pack. But he was on the apron, it wasn't like he did it intentionally. It was just a dumb move by other AI, and we are about to get into the back of some lap traffic, which if it breaks up the pack, it's going to cause a yellow, just to keep it fair. And they're going to be side by side in front of this pack. They're like right in the middle lane too, so they might cause it. We'll see what happens here. But now trying to get past the lap car. They're slicing through lap traffic here down the back straightaway at Daytona. Yeah, that's gonna... That just broke everyone up, but we'll see. We'll give him a lap. But yeah, they just cost 3 people to draft. So we're gonna call it. Because we got into lap traffic that doesn't know how to move. So, congrats to them. They just gave us a 10-lap shootout though. Give or take. Coming back to the restart zone. Blaney now leading the pack, and that may put the 84 car back in contention for this transfer, and the 27 of Shelmerdine. Here we come back to the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. McClure kind of stalls up the second half of the pack. And we may have the 25 and 84 and 42 up in this pack now. Which would be cool to see the 42 competing for the win with no hood. Now Allmendinger trying to make a move past Montoya. He thinks he needs to do this to stay alive in the battle for the transfer position. And he's going to crucially pass the 42. And be on the rear bumper of Regan Smith. But there's side by side for the lead as well. Ricky Rudd and Kevin Harvick. Next to Dave Blaney and Dale Jr. But I think that the 84 just doesn't have a good enough car to keep up because of that accident where he got driven into by the 74, but we'll see. Mayfield now making a move for the lead on Harvick for the race lead with his duel, as the laps are ticking down to make something happen. Junior pushing Mayfield, who bumped his father out of the way for the win at Pocono in 2000. Now Kenseth to the bottom with Martin Truex, as they run 3 wide a few rows back, but mainly it's side by side 2 rows deep. Junior now looking low, trying to make this 3 wide thing happen. Waltrip down the draft with them. Three wide for the lead, Junior, Kenseth, and Harvick. Now they're going to be 4 wide for a moment. Or will they be 4 wide into turn 1? Oh, Kenseth on the apron. Is there enough of a hole for Kenseth to come back up? No, there isn't. They're going to crash. Bill Elliott upside down. Regan Smith is in it. AJ Allmendinger. Elliott rolling down the banking. Newman slams into Brian Vickers. Caution flag is going to come back out. With 5 laps to go. Shelmerdine in it. Mayfield. Mike Bliss may have squeaked through. Eric McClure. Tony Stewart involved. Matt Kenseth in the 17. All caught up in it. Yeah, Matt just tried to re-enter, got hooked by Truex, who did not lift to let him back on the track. Regan Smith got caught up in it, and wild ride for Bill Elliott, who just missed the Daytona 500 because of it. Let's go on board with the 37 car. Here we go. And he comes to rest right on his roof. Does the 37 of Bill Elliott. Now, will we get a 1 to green this time, or will we be forced to a green-white checker? Yep, it's going to be a green-white checker. It'll be a green-white checker here from Daytona. After a bunch of the field just got cleaned out. Boris said, I think it'll be a free pass car. No, it'll be Joe Nemechek. But it'll be Mike Bliss and Allmendinger, who I believe just got caught up in that accident, battling for the final transfers position. It'll be 2 laps to go, only 11 cars left after that accident. And both Nemechek and Said should be on the lead lap since they were in that. I think I've got to do the free pass at the last caution, so Nemechek and Said both on the lead lap. And Mike Bliss with a missing hood is about to possibly make the Daytona 500. Regan Smith wants to say in this, but he's a lap down, so he won't have much of one. Here we go to the restart zone. Mears is going to pull down pit road here with damage. And we're going to have a couple cars left to decide it. Here we go, green flag back in the air. And AJ is all over that 49 car. He's going to easily get by him, potentially. Bliss isn't going to let him get away that way, and they're both pretty damaged. Meanwhile, Jeremy Mayfield can basically sigh in relief, knowing he's probably going to be in this field unless he just gets catastrophically wrecked. Four-car breakaway. Rudd looking low on Harvick as they come to take the white flag here at Daytona in the second duel. And Bliss and Allmendinger still neck and neck, basically, as they take the white flag. Ricky Rudd with the race lead, Dale Jr. to push. Now Jr. is going to look to the inside. There's going to be like a two-car tandem here, and Harvick's not there to help Ricky Rudd. Jr. is going to get a shove by from Mayfield. And Bliss may about to be making a move on Allmendinger. He does. Neither one of them have any draft. Side by side for the transfer position with Bliss and Allmendinger. We'll keep an eye on that. Here they come to the checkered flag. Jr. out front. Mayfield trying to make a run at him. But it'll be Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning the second duel, and Bliss has gotten by Allmendinger for the transfer. And by some miracle, Mike Bliss is going to make the Daytona 500. How about that? We were talking about how it would take a miracle for some of these severely damaged cars to make it. Mike Bliss just got his miracle. Unreal. Missing hood. Back bumper all jacked up. Doesn't matter, he's in the Daytona 500.